Woman is facing accusations of repeatedly shooting her boyfriend, who somehow survived the ordeal. Now she's been released on bond, and this case has everyone talking. To dive deeper into the situation, we're turning to former prosecutor Anthony Osso, who's familiar with this area, to help us understand what's really going on. Welcome to Sidebar, brought to you by Law Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Imagine this: a woman allegedly lures her boyfriend to a secluded field, shoots him multiple times until the gun is empty, and now she's out on bond. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly the case with 23-year-old Alexis Pinto. She's been charged with aggravated assault in connection with the alleged attack on Elvis Munoz. The incident occurred just last month in Houston, Texas. Reports suggest the couple had a heated argument at their home, which started when a client dropped off a car at Munoz's house for repairs, since Munoz is a mechanic. Things reportedly escalated when Pinto allegedly tried to hit him. In response, he grabbed her, and somewhere amidst the chaos, she allegedly persuaded him to take her to a field, supposedly to watch the sunset. What followed is nothing short of bizarre. Upon arriving at the field, Pinto reportedly jumped out of the car and began running. Munoz tried to catch up with her, only for her to allegedly turn around and make a strange remark about wanting to learn about deer hunting. Then, she allegedly pulled out a gun and shot him in the chest. Munoz says she shot him again, this time in the hand, as he desperately tried to escape. Munoz reportedly collapsed to the ground, gravely injured, as Pinto allegedly stood over him and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do you like that. I didn't shoot you in the right places." Before she could allegedly take another shot, possibly aiming for his head, Munoz managed to block her attempt. By the end of the attack, Munoz had reportedly been shot in the chest, stomach, and both hands. Despite the severity of the situation, Pinto allegedly made a phone call claiming that Munoz had shot her. In the background, Munoz could reportedly be heard repeatedly denying the accusation. When Munoz pleaded with her to call for an ambulance, she allegedly responded by saying, "I didn't mean to do it like this. It was supposed to be quick." In a surprising turn, Pinto reportedly assisted Munoz to his truck, drove him to a gas station, and sought help. Emergency responders arrived and transported him to the hospital, where he underwent multiple surgeries. While he survived, the ordeal left Munoz with visible scars and limited mobility in his hands, significantly affecting his livelihood as a mechanic. The aftermath of the crime took another shocking twist when Pinto's bond was initially set at $75,000, but was later reduced by a judge to $10,000. She posted the bond and was released while awaiting trial. The reduction has sparked significant controversy, raising questions about how such a decision could be made in a case this disturbing. Upside is a free app that offers real cash back when you make purchases like gas, groceries, or food. It's not points or store credit, it's actual money you can transfer directly into your bank account. For example, I used Upside to locate a gas station, claimed an offer, paid with my credit card at the pump, followed the app's instructions, and earn cash back. It's incredibly easy to use, and you can benefit from it at restaurants, convenience stores, and more. If you're interested in seeing how much you can save, click the link in the description to download the Upside app or scan the QR code on your screen. Be sure to use the promo code SIDEBAR to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank of gas. Now, turning back to Munoz, the alleged victim in this case, he recently spoke with local media outlet KPRC2, expressing his deep concern about Pinto's release. Munoz stated that he lives in constant fear now that his ex is out of jail, describing her as a danger not only to him, but also to the broader community, including children, friends, and family. He shared, "She's a danger to me, my friends, and my family. She knows where several of my friends live, but more importantly, my family. I have little nieces, my sister, nephew, my mom, and my dad." Although Pinto's bail conditions prohibit her from being near Munoz and require her to wear an ankle monitor, it's understandable why Munoz would feel unsettled by the situation. His fear underscores the outrage many feel about her release. To delve deeper into this case, Houston attorney and former prosecutor Anthony Osso, who has expertise in domestic violence cases, joins us. Anthony, thank you for being here. Before we dive into the specifics, let's start with, Jesse posed a critical question. Why would a judge reduce bond from $75,000 to $10,000 for someone accused of such a violent crime, knowing the suspect could post bail and be released? This is a valid concern, as many people outside the legal system find it difficult to understand such decisions. Houston attorney Anthony Osso explained that judges have the authority to set bond amounts they deem fair and appropriate. Their goal is to ensure the defendant appears in court and doesn't pose a danger to the community, the victim, or commit further crimes. The law allows judges to lower bond amounts based on factors they find relevant, even in cases like this. In this instance, a form reportedly signed by the judge indicated that Pinto was determined to have a mental illness or intellectual disability. Osso suggested that this might have influenced the decision to reduce the bond, but he clarified that mental health treatment is available within jail facilities as well. He emphasized that the judge likely considered multiple factors, such as Pinto's prior criminal history, if any, alongside her mental health status. Ultimately, Osso noted that while mental health concerns may have played a role, it's unlikely they were the sole reason for the bond reduction. Judges consider a variety of elements when making these decisions, but the details behind this specific case remain incomplete. Jesse raised another key question. Would a judge independently lower bond, or would the defense need to file a motion requesting the reduction? Attorney Anthony Osso explained that it depends on the specific case and the judge. For minor offenses, like possession of marijuana, judges in Houston may independently decide to lower bond due to shifting attitudes toward such cases. However, for more serious charges, such as the one in this case, it's likely that the defense filed a formal motion to request the bond reduction. Afterward, the judge would review relevant factors, hear arguments from both sides, and make a decision. It's important to note, Osso clarified, that a bond reduction doesn't necessarily indicate that the judge is swayed by the defense's arguments about the case's merits. It's not about determining whether Pinto was acting in self-defense or whether the allegations against her might be overstated. Instead, the focus is on the severity of the crime and the defendant's likelihood of committing further offenses while out on bond. In this situation, the argument might have been that this was an isolated domestic violence incident and that Pinto doesn't pose a significant risk to the wider community. However, the ultimate decision doesn't reflect the judge taking a stance on Pinto's guilt or innocence. It's primarily about assessing the level of danger and ensuring her court appearance. The comparison between this case and the Diddy case highlights a key distinction. When there's a history of repeated offenses, as in the Diddy case, the concern is that the defendant may continue committing crimes if released. This ongoing risk justifies a high bond. However, in Pinto's situation, the defense likely argued that this was an isolated, though unfortunate, domestic violence incident. Attorney Anthony Osso speculated that the judge likely relied on this reasoning and the defense's argument that Pinto had no prior criminal record. The claim that this was her first offense would have been a significant factor in determining the bond. While reports have hinted at some history of conflict or abuse between Munoz and Pinto, this specific incident appears to be considered isolated. Consequently, the judge might have concluded that Pinto posed a minimal risk of reoffending. Jesse then asked an important question. Why wasn't Pinto charged with attempted murder? Osso noted that in his experience as a prosecutor, cases involving aggravated assault often involve similar levels of violence, yet weren't always escalated to attempted murder charges. He began to explain the considerations prosecutors typically weigh in such cases, which can include evidence strength, intent, and the severity of injuries sustained. Complainants often ask why a suspect isn't charged with attempted murder, and attorney Anthony Osso explained the reasoning behind such decisions. In Texas, proving murder or attempted murder requires establishing intent to kill, which can be challenging. When the charge includes attempted, it lowers the punishment range by 1 degree. For example, murder, typically a first-degree felony, becomes a second-degree felony when it's attempted. In cases like Pinto's, aggravated assault is already a second-degree felony, so prosecutors often focus on the evidence of using a deadly weapon during the act. This makes it easier to secure a conviction without needing to prove intent to kill. Prosecutors aim for the strongest case they can present with the same punishment range. In Texas, the punishment range for aggravated assault is 2 to 20 years. However, because a firearm was involved, The offense is classified as a 3G offense. This means that if convicted, the defendant must serve at least 50% of the sentence before becoming eligible for parole. Given the circumstances of this case, if Pinto were to go to trial and be found guilty, she could indeed face the maximum sentence of 20 years.